Step 1. Be adaptive to conversations. Being adaptive to conversations doesn't necessarily mean that you have to understand or have background knowledge on the topic at hand. Well, most of the time I have no damn clue what my friends are blabbering on about when we go outside, but what is important is to force yourself to add your own input into the conversation. Now, I don't mean switch the topic completely. That usually doesn't work out and it makes you look like an ass. But asking questions about, for example, that one person they keep talking about but failing to introduce them to you throughout the conversation, so you just go, wait, hang on a minute, who's that? Then they fill you in on the info, and from there you can ask some follow-up/filler questions. You can even do what I like to call filler words. Stuff like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I bet that was a handful. Boy, that must have been difficult for you. I view these terms as being spices. Sure, you can eat a very good meal and still enjoy it without any extra condiments on your plate. But once you add that salt and pepper combo, it makes your meal, or in this case conversation, 100 times better. Engaging in conversations this way will bring you both more confidence to talk to people about anything. Whether or not you actually know said person is completely irrelevant. You can just walk up to some random guy and make an observingly sarcastic comment about big titty golf, and it's gonna work out for you. Important note, please don't try this with the golf example, but everything else is fine. Subscribe. Part 2. Active listening. As I already touched on a little earlier, you can't just be standing there mindlessly nodding your head at everything the person in front of you is saying while you're thinking about the socioeconomic state of Burundi. First off, you just look like an ass standing like that. And secondly, people like to talk, but more importantly, people like being heard. So let's jump back to this scenario where you're just nodding your head where it is very obvious that you aren't paying attention to what they're saying, and thus said person probably wouldn't like to talk to you again. I mean, I wouldn't either in that scenario. People like being heard, so instead of trying to make yourself the main character and listen to you, take a step back and actually listen to what other people have to say. And please don't just blindly agree with what they're saying. Keep listening to the person in question, show genuine interest in what they're saying, and reciprocate said interest throughout your inputs in the conversation, whether it be both sarcastic remarks or confused questions. That shows that if you don't actually care, you are at least showing interest. And hey, in a world where everyone wants to be heard, people like you are extremely sought after. Step 3. Be caring of others, but not at your own expense. Nowadays, everyone is only interested in what their own ass is gonna do later, and that's it. They have a surface level idea of what healthy friendships are and mostly serve a utilitarian purpose because of the biological drive of humans to be social creatures. I mean, how many people do you know, or are a friend of a friend, who only know each other because of circumstance or convenience? For example, being the only two people in class who have friends, then you get together but can't connect. So you just stay together because that's easier than finding a new friend group. That's not how friends are to do. Be the better person in that scenario and show genuine interest in the person. Ask them questions about themselves. I know most people hate doing that because you feel like a fucking Facebook bot doing that, but trust me, there's no quicker way of getting to know someone. Like, I've been friends with some people for over 15 years and all but 2 cannot consistently remember when my birthday is. Tells you a lot about the other person how much they remember random facts about you. But don't go in the other extreme where you only care about them and don't try to get them to know you as well. That's a perfect recipe for a one-way relationship. A fair balance of fulfilling your own needs and taking a genuine interest in other people is what you need to do. Quick intermission. If you're asking if any of these advice work on getting girls, my answer to that is, I have no clue. I've tried it. I can't say for certain because I don't have a big enough test pool to decide. I was doing good with one particular situation for about a month and a half, and then fucking, I don't know, I guess I tried too hard. I still don't know what happened. Part 4. Feign confidence. Let me get this crystal clear into your thick skull. Feigning confidence doesn't necessarily mean being outright confident. Well, Zentik, how the hell does that make sense? Well, it's all about presentation! What do people care if they know if you're actually confident or not? People will treat you like some random guy if they don't know you're a secret serial killer. My point being is that you just have to appear confident, although it's definitely not a bad thing if you are. Positive reinforcements will give you a status boost, which raises your confidence, which in turn raises your appearance, thus being more charismatic. Nobody likes to see an insecure person. That's like the least charismatic thing you can do. For my experiments, I've noticed that holding a straight posture, confident but relaxed walking stance, and a cool as ice expression topped off with sunglasses over my eyes fulfills that confident appearance. Am I actually confident? Well, that's a question for myself to which I still don't know the full answer, but what I do know is that most people look at me like I'm a mob boss that has rolled up to work, and that is not what I think people see me as. Both people I do and don't know come up to me to tell me how confident I am throughout conversation and in appearance. That is probably the most important quality you should have if you're looking to be charismatic. Now, of course, there are much more tips tips and tricks than these few I've pointed out to you good people today, but I feel like these 4 I've enlightened you people with today will bring you like 90% of the way of being a charismatic figure, with the other 10% coming from your own experiences which shape it fully.